Who Wants to Be a Millionaire is a truly spectacular show, in my opinion anyway, because I really enjoy the thrill of game shows. I guess it's not too much unlike the thrill of horror movies and internet stories and so on, other than that, instead of being axe murdered and having your guts grinded into sausage while a guy with a crooked bloody smile plots his next killings, people have the opportunity to win and lose money. In hindsight, I guess that's really not the same thing, unless we're talking about what happened to me. Which I am. In any event, I really enjoyed the Millionaire television program. It had just the right amount of suspense, a short, smiley Irish-Italian-American host, not that I'm ethnically biased or anything, I'm not like that at all, and even some laughs worked in too, especially when it came to the celebrity specials. So, before Regis left, I auditioned to be a contestant. I thought the questions I was asked were odd, and I was really nervous about it the entire time, but I went forward anyway. They asked me how Hank Hill murdered Peggy on King of the Hill, which is kind of odd given that I'm pretty sure Hank was a wholesome small-town Texan propane salesman who never fathomed such a thing, but whatever. They asked me how the kids opened the door on the Barney the Dinosaur program when it was locked, and apparently some kid found a knife inside of a sandcastle? Who the fuck would store a knife inside of a kid's sandcastle? Well, whatever. It also struck me as crazy that they kept asking me questions about TV shows. They even asked me what you can't buy on Wheel of Fortune. Apparently you can't buy a person. Imagine that. Anyway, they didn't seem to care if I answered the questions right or wrong, and I won a trip with my family to Upper West Manhattan. It wasn't easy for us to leave our Toronto and row home, but since the cartoon production building next to us burnt down, things have been rather awry around here lately. Some time away couldn't have hurt any of us, I mistakenly concluded. We sang along to a Ronald McDonald cassette tape that my son blared on his boombox, and off we went on the 500-mile ride in my 1945 Volkswagen Beetle. I'm going to spare you the details that went on in the hotel at my wife's request. There was a lot of cussing, and as a proud Mormon dad, I think we're better off not discussing that sort of thing. Let's fast forward to after I was briefed, when I walked out of the tunnel toward an internationally televised dream come true. Or so I thought. Hint. Hint. The moment I stepped out of the tunnel and toward the set, I should have known that things were going to be like a nightmare. Instead of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, the words Who Wants to Win $576 hung over the set in some sort of juvenile-looking font that reminded me of the one people on the internet hate so much. When I looked over at the host seat, it wasn't Regis either. I didn't have my glasses on, but I could tell from a distance it wasn't him. It was a person of African-American descent. Again, that's fine. I think that's really cool. It's just that it wasn't Regis, so things felt different, you know? Turned out that it was Jaleel White, the actor who played Steve Urkel. Oh, man. What was he doing hosting the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire program?
Please welcome to our stage, Mr. Louis Diggs.
The audience applauded. Admittedly, it was a very small audience, but I figured maybe they put all the people in later using special effects. Also, Louis Diggs isn't my real name, but I didn't care because I was about to win money, right? I sat down in the hot seat, smiled, shook Jaleel's hand. It sent chills down my spine. It was bony, as if his skin was a Star Trek-style hologram that covered up the shocking truth that he was death himself. I gulped. Well, hi, Steve, Jaleel. It's, nice to be here in New York. Gotta love that Brooklyn-style pizza. Am I right, or am I right? I was hoping my cool demeanor and fake New Yorker accent would win over the audience, if not Mr. Bones himself.
Well, that's really cool, Louis. I guess you could say that everybody wants a piece of the pie.
Jaleel snorted. The audience laughed until they vomited. Several kids nearly choked on their own puke. I considered calling 911, but I figured it would be too late. Thankfully, nobody died.
That's because we're already dead.
Urkel chuckled as if he could read my mind. My blood froze, but I snapped out of it after a few seconds. I had to keep my Toronto cool.
It's time to play Who Wants to Win $576 US.
Jaleel enthusiastically announced. The PlayStation 3 flashed on the screen, which was interesting because the PlayStation 3 hadn't even been formally announced yet. But instead of PlayStation 3, some Egyptian hieroglyphic letters flashed on screen and scrolled like the stock market. The classic Super Mario Bros. Underwater tune played as Crash Bandicoot displayed on the screen, and he winked at me. I felt a chill rush down my spine. I started feeling better when I noticed that the $10 question came up. I guessed it was only $10 because this was no longer the Millionaire show.
In the classic American comedy, Home Improvement, Tim the Toolman Taylor ties this object to a radiator. Is it A, his tools, B, The Legend of Zelda, The Ocarina of Time, C, Al's flannel, or D, fat kids?
I paused and thought it over. Like the questions I was asked over the phone when I auditioned, I knew that none of these were the right answer to anything. Mr. White? I'm pretty sure that none of these answers are correct.
And I'm pretty sure you belong in a fucking mental asylum.
The audience laughed. And I couldn't say I disagreed with any of them. Pretty strange that there wasn't any hesitation or a cut from a director or anything, but with the upchuck moment that just happened, I guess cussing wasn't off limits. Well, he loves his tools more than life itself, and I'm iffy on them product placing Zelda like that. Al'd probably get pretty pissed if Tim did the shirt thing, and I think he'd rather stick to the mom jokes than do anything like that to him. Still, the fat kid thing is a total non sequitur. I can't imagine anyone writing that. It really doesn't make any sense at all.
Do you have any friends? You could phone one of them now.
Jaleel did that pig noise of him again.
Of course, I'm sure nobody likes you. Because you're fat and have a lisp and you live in New Jersey.
At that point, I got really, really mad. I rolled up my sleeves and was ready to clobber Jaleel back onto the set of Family Matters. Speaking of which, his questions and the ones I was asked over the phone weren't family-friendly at all. As a matter of fact, I didn't understand them. I got up, aggressively, stomped my way over toward the king of the Uber dorks himself. But then...
Oh, I wouldn't do that if I were you.
I was zapped. Like a dog stuck inside an electric fence. Oh, it was too late for me. I'd been imprisoned. I didn't understand why any of this was going down. Was it because I was Canadian? I fell to the floor in pain. Not only was I not going to win any money, but I was beginning to think I was going to die. This wasn't the Millionaire show at all. Oh, I'd been scammed. This must have been some sort of abandoned New York factory, dollied up to look like the real thing. It was actually a trap for some of the most devious thieves I could have ever fathomed. Creating a fake high-effect Millionaire show like this, with a highly realistic audience and hiring a disheveled skeleton hologram Steve Urkel? I got on my feet. I stared at Mr. White, or whoever he really was. A lengthy stream of blood was oozing out of his nose. It wasn't a simple nosebleed, and it wasn't special effects either. It was blood. I just paused and I stared. I'd have asked him if he was okay, but I knew that none of us were anymore. Eventually the bleeding stopped. A demonic smile spread across Jaleel's face, and that sent a chill right down my spine. and somehow it spread into my heart. But I knew exactly what he was going to say next, because it was so predictable.
Did I do that?
His snorting and laughing went on for what felt like an eternity, as did my feelings of concern for me and my family, who were supposed to be in the audience, though I didn't see them anywhere. Okay, Mr. Regis Philbin Imposter, you listen, and you listen real good. Your question was fucking fallacious, and you're bleeding like Oprah Winfrey on the rag. The audience oohed. And this audience, oh, I don't get them. I want to go home. And back to my wife. And my kid, even if he's obsessed with McDonald's to the point that he fetishes the clown. But I don't know why you picked me. I'm going home. All I want to do is to go home. It isn't about money anymore. Steve's smile changed without hesitation into a frown. He sighed, really depressed-like. It really didn't make any sense at all.
You really don't get why we chose you.
No, I don't. And I'm fresh out of ideas. Sure, there's continuity in whatever the hell's going on here, and I think there's some sort of rhyme or reason going on in your brain ultimately. But it feels like whatever deep conclusions we're coming to are the result of trying to tie together loose ends after the fact. You couldn't explain at first why you invited me and my family to this fake TV show, but you have some ideas now, or you're working on them right now, aren't you? And before, all the time, whether you're there yet or not, oh, you're working on the answers, because you're very, very intelligent and very creative, unlike the people I'm used to meeting in this life. But part of me thinks that you had no idea where you were going when you started doing this thing. You just thought it would be fun. You had the technology available to you to play with people's brains and their deepest insecurities and proneness to conspiracy for fun. You earned an audience, and those people love you. And I think they should, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised if you get bored of it at times, because let's face it, even they don't really understand you because your ideas are way too deep for them. I bet it drains your inspiration at times. Isn't that right, Jaleel? Sometimes it feels all for naught, but you know, and I know, that doing this game, in and of itself, is worth all the while. You're back to entertaining the unsuspecting, hoping that some of them will get it, and the very few who do get invited into this very audience. Don't they? And I'm sure some appreciate your work. After all, they kind of asked for it, sort of in a way, though not really. A lot of people just don't get it. But me, I get it, Jaleel. It turns out that I wasn't out of ideas at all, though sometimes it feels that way. In fact, I think you're just like me. I think we're both very creative. I think you chose me because you think I'm every bit as capable as you are to think and feel this deeply. You think that I get the psychology of all of this, just like you do. There was a very lengthy pause. Maybe a minute and a half. The audience said nothing. There was no laughing, no crying, no vomiting, no gasping. It was all just very quiet. It felt like you could lit up a faggot, and that's how you say cigarette in Canada, and no one would notice.
I can't believe it.
Jaleel White finally stuttered. Ha! You can't believe that I figured this whole thing out.
No, that's not true at all. I can't believe how fucking retarded you are!
He snorted, storming out of the very same tunnel I entered in were skeletons wearing top hats and holding baseball bats with the words, "It's a government conspiracy," scrawled on them in that Comic Sans font. I searched for a staircase and a chandelier so that I could pull off that trick from the Three Amigos in which you crash landed on your enemy during precious seconds, but no, there was nothing. I tried running, but I was zapped again, like a dog inside of an electric fence, yet again.
Did I fucking do that?
Steve screamed and snorted. Then I screamed as my face got pounded in by Louisville sluggers and Steve Urkel repeatedly kicked me in the nads. He laughed like Lucifer himself as his head reared back in a demonic howl, like when a kid tools with audacity to sound like the Chipmunks but fucks it up real badly. Oh, the last thing I saw was Steve Urkel towering over me, taking a great big bite out of a New York-style pizza and snickering. Fuck my life. The end.